Mc Entee of Incantation. Welcome to 69 Faces of Rock. How are you doing today?
I'm doing great. It's great to be here. Thank you so much for having me.
Excellent. So new record. I think it's your what, 12th album?
I don't know. I don't count them at this point. Like,
One of them it came out as 12, so 12 records, 34 years as a band. Where does it all find you?
uh, it's insane. First of all, it's absolutely out of control that we've been around for almost 35 years at this point. I mean, that's just I can't even. If you would have told me when I started doing this that I'd still be doing it, 30 something years later, I would have told you you're on crack or something like that. So, um, you know, at this point in my life, it's like I'm just happy to still be, put out stuff that people enjoy, and just, like, I guess all my real goals in music have been met to some extent already. So everything at this point is like an added bonus. It's just like, it's really awesome. I mean, our shows are doing better than ever. The new album is doing great. It's just a great vibe in the band. I'm just loving it, just too many positive things to not totally enjoy.
Yeah. Staying on the topic of positive, like the initial reviews I see, extremely positive.
Yes.
When you were writing and recording this album, did you kind of know you were onto something special here?
No, I don't think so. I mean, I knew that the vibe was great in the band and stuff, and I knew that I felt really confident with the material, but I mean, I think for the most part, every time you feel pretty confident. I mean, the thing that was different on our end is that the chemistry was better with the addition of having Luke on guitar. Really made us all closer as writers and friends and everything. So that really helps a lot with the overall vibe, because when you are trying to craft songs and trying to record stuff, and there's like, too much tension, too much at people not being on the same page, that makes a problem. I mean, it's good to have people pushing you and trying to get you to do better and maybe question your ideas. I mean, all that stuff is great. That's all part of the process, and it's healthy, but it's not good when you feel like there's not a there's not like a best for the band kind of vibe or whatever. Because just naturally, without even thinking about it, certain people in the past have been just a little selfish on what they wanted to get out of the band and stuff. And when people are too selfish, it doesn't work out, because a band is four people working together. It's not four individuals trying to do just to better themselves. It's to better the band, and that betters everybody, kind of thing. So I think it's really important. I mean, that positive vibe on this album, I think, is one of the reasons why it just went so well overall. I think with the album and stuff, because it's at least on our end, it was like everyone's contribution, we felt like, was vital to the songs. It was amazing. Like, we'll say the addition of Luke, for instance. I mean, we've been jamming with Luke for years because he's been filling in on bass for us when Chuck can't tour some of the times. But I mean, when writing stuff, either coming up with riffs, or like, really for me, like the thing that was really awesome about Luke's contribution um musically was when he would do leads for songs. We all just liked it right off the bat. Like, there was no like, I don't know, or maybe it's not the right vibe, because sometimes someone goes in, let's do some cool lead thing, but you listen to it, you're like, it's cool, but it doesn't fit the song. And Luke has a way of writing, and it's either with the music or with the leads. He has a way of writing for the song, which I think really helped out a lot. And some of the stuff on the album, like I would give him like a basic idea of like a very primitive version of what was on the album, as far as like something kind of like this might be cool here or there. You know, I mean, he came up with a lot of it himself, but I would come up with like a basic idea, and then he would like take that basic idea and make it fucking amazing. And I'm just like, oh wow, like his ideas, first of all, it's way better than my original one, but just to like hear it and be like, you know, you took it and you like went for it. You didn't just like stick within the box or whatever, which was just great. And the whole vibe, I mean, everyone really stepped up to the plate. I mean, Chuck's contribution has been top notch. Kyle did great. You know, and I felt really comfortable with the stuff. You know, my contribution too, I felt really good about it, because really the whole album was a reaction to the last album, Sect of All Divinities, which is, I think it came out good, but immediately after I was finished tracking it, I felt like it was lacking something. And it's funny because that album did amazingly well for us. Probably the best-selling album of our career was Sect of All Divinities album. But the fact of the matter is that I just wasn't happy with. I thought it was just lacking a little bit in some of the core areas where we really excel at and stuff. And so I was really inspired. I think the whole band was really inspired this time to really let go and just go for it, and not, you know, because we did feel a little bit contained, I guess, on Sect of All Divinities. It's not, like I said, it's not a bad album, but when you compare the two albums together, this one has a lot more hate to it, a lot more pissed offness. There's a lot more personality to it. The other one, the Sect of All Divinities album, was clinically good, and the production was nice and good, but it lost a lot of its attitude, and that really bothered me a lot about it. Even though it's difficult because you have an album that does really well for you, and you're thinking to yourself like, this is really cool, but man, it's like I really would have, you know, I would have felt better if it did good, having the personality that I think the songs needed, instead of just so, you know, I mean, it was this clinically, it was good death metal, but it was just like to me, it didn't have enough of incantation in the sound. And I don't think it's the song structures as much as it is just production wise. But I take blame for that, because I was kind of checked out at that point, because I was so burnt out on the recording of Sect of All Divinities. By the time it came to mixing, I was just at a very I was frustrated with it, and I was just like, fuck it, let's just get this fucking album out and done with, so he could work on this next one. And because this is like, it's funny, but this album was like the album that I really wanted to start working on. Like, we did all this work for Sect, and then I was like, it's okay, it's good, the songs are good, but it's something was missing. And this one, we fixed what was missing, in our opinion. But people have their own opinions. I mean, people love the fact that Sect of All Divinities is a very easy to listen to incantation album, probably the easiest of all our albums to listen to. The songs are very catchy, and the production's really good. So I mean, some people really like that, but I'm an old school death metal fucker, and I like it to be raw, dirty, and heavy and brutal, you know. And when people are telling me that that Sect of All Divinities doesn't have some of the heaviness, the girth, the overbearing you know, dirt to it, it's like I can't say they're wrong. You know, I want to say they're wrong, but I can't, because they're right about it, you know.
Yeah.
But like I said, I have learned to like the Sect of All Divinities, and actually after playing the songs live, I feel way better about them, because live I feel like the songs, to me, liven up more on that album. So and it's not like I'm here to trash a Sect of All Divinities album, because I mean, you know, I'm still proud of it, but you know, every album is so connected to the album that came right before it, that you can't tell the story of Unholy Deification without talking about Sect of All Divinities, because they're you know, they're linked, they're forever linked in a almost like a yin yang way.
Mhm. Wow, this was probably the most hateful, positive spin on a new record I've heard in a long time. It was fun.
Yeah, so when we're hating, we're really happy.
It could be a positive thing. Um, Do you guys live close to each other with the current lineup?
No, I mean, Luke and Kyle live about an hour away. But they live in Ohio, like Columbus area-ish, and I live in North Carolina, and Chuck lives in Philly. So we're all pretty far away. So it does take us a lot of effort to get together as a band and work on stuff. But it's so important to have that band chemistry that we take out the time, we spend the extra money that we have to get together from being, kind of far away, but it's totally worth it. And the fact of the matter is too, is we all get along really well. So we want to hang out anyway. So like, it's kind of like going to band practice, you're going to band practice, hanging out with your friends, working on some metal, and having a good time. Like usually we'll just, work on metal most of the day, then get some dinner somewhere and then watch some horror movies at night and then do it all over the next day. It's a lot of fun.
Sounds great. So after 34 years, is there a specific formula in which Incantation song is assembled?
No, it's not really. I mean, there's things that there's habits that I guess I've fallen into. I mean, it's only fuck, it's 34 years. It's gonna be habits, and
Better believe it.
it's actually kind of good though, because especially Luke and Chuck like to remind me of my habits sometimes, and say like, let me know if things are like, if this reminds them of something else, or this, maybe the structure could be a little different or something like that. So it's good to have that input from them just on my part, because yeah, there's no doubt that there's flows in songs that I find that are natural expressions for me, I guess we'll say. So sometimes writing stuff, there could be a little bit of a formula, even though I try not to. I think it's inevitable, but I don't think the overall way that we write is not. There's no rules to it. Like sometimes one of us will come up with almost a full skeleton of a song, sometimes a half skeleton of a song. Other times, we'll write the song at band practice with just a few ideas that each of us brought to the table. You know, it's all different. We all just, it just depends. Like when someone comes up with an idea or someone comes up with a song, sometimes it sounds good without having to do too much work to it and just build upon it. Other times, you really want to work it out with the band and try to find these places where there's issues or whatever.
You keep on describing this incredible vibe you have within the band. How would you describe the roles each member has within the band?
Well, I mean, we're all songwriters, so I mean, we all are important on that aspect for sure. We all like, I mean, really, for the most part, everyone's open to contribute, however they can, whatever, value they could bring to, into the writing process. Um, I mean, for myself, I think if anything, I think I sometimes I try at least to like get the vibe going and get the agenda going for the next album. Like say on Unholy Deification, the first songs that I kind of wrote a good amount of were Chalice, and what was the other one? I can't think of it now. Offerings were the first two that I wrote for that, at least the majority of the music for. And those are really more of the faster, chaotic songs to it. And I think that helped get the agenda going, where hopefully you want to come with something and get everyone inspired to some extent, and I think those songs kind of help with that. But I mean, Luke's a songwriter, so I mean, he came up with the what was it, the Megaron song. He came up with really all of that song with very minor changes to it. And but Luke's a songwriter and a great lead player. So I mean, he just kicks ass with that. And Chuck also, he comes up with amazing riffs. I mean, a lot of the songs on the album, have a good amount of contribution from him, like Invocation song, which was really great. What was it? Exile also he contributed a lot to. There's a bunch of stuff, and then lyrically he contributed with the whole concept of the album, which he spent a long time working on too, which is really good. And Kyle drum wise, obviously, he writes music too, but he also, really just I have such a good chemistry of working with him. I work with him for like probably almost 20 years on drums, so it's like flawless. Like I'll have an idea and then he'll just like he sometimes almost knows what I'm gonna do next and comes up with some kind of cool little thing for it. And like Kyle also helps out a lot with the lyric patterns too. Sometimes of recently I've gotten more comfortable with my vocals and I've been working on a lot of patterns myself, but over the career of the band, he's done a lot to like either coach me through doing lyrics, doing vocals on an album, or the lyrics, placements for the songs and stuff like that. Because he always has these placements that are awkward for me to do, but are cool. But it's just, I can't help it. I always go with what's simple for me to do and sounds good. But he'll come up with some kind of weird, like an and part, come on this and part here, or on the third, of the beat there. So he'll come up with these great ideas. And Chuck also came up with a lot of lyrical, not lyric. He came with the lyrics, but he also did a lot of the helping me with vocal structures too. Because being a concept album, we had to really focus on making sure that the lyrics, when they're put into the songs, if we have to take away or add stuff to it, that we're adding the proper stuff to it to make sure we're not screwing up his concept for the whole thing.
Yeah. You even managed to get Jeff Becerra involved. Tell me about that.
Well, Jeff Becerra is a friend. I've been friends with him only for a little while. A couple of years and stuff, but it's really nice to be able to, just have somebody that, first of all, is a cool dude, but also such a legendary person in the scene and stuff. Without Possessed, I wouldn't be here doing what I'm doing now. So, I have a great debt of gratitude for Possessed, and I appreciate all that they've done for the death metal scene. But yeah, I basically just asked them to do it. We were working on this part. We thought it'd be a good idea to have kind of a group chant type vocals on, I think it was the song Circles. And it was I thought, well, fuck it. I'll ask Jeff, see if he's into it, because if we're gonna do it, let's make it mean something. Let it be special, And then we had Jeff Pizzaro. Then I also got Henry Vegian from my former band Revenant to do it, which for me was really important. And then we had Dan Vladovan, join in too, which he's been filling in on bass for us. That stuff that Chuck can't do on tour. And then we besides that, Luke did backings for it too, and then I did some vocals. So it's kind of a group of like 5 different vocalists in that part. It's really something different for us, and it's not as much like publicity thing, but it just these were all things that meant a lot to us to have. It wasn't like we're trying to do it for commercial reasons. Like I don't really care. Like I have no issues. I don't want to. I want to get whatever we're going to get from our own merit, not because we have a guest vocalist. I see bands, they'll promote like so much, like this band, song, whatever, this band has guest vocals on one song by somebody, and they'll like the record company will promote the crap out of it. Like that's the only reason to buy an album is because it's like a guest vocal part. And that's pretty sad. Really.
Sad.
The guest vocals should be like the icing on the cake or like the sprinkles on the ice cream, not the whole thing,
Yeah, and I know Jeff, so I know his dynamic, so I totally see where he comes from on this one.
Yeah, it's great. When he sent the vocals there, it was just like, fuck yeah, because it's like, he's a legend, he's great. He's a a great vocalist and a legend, you know. That's why he's where he's at. That's why he's the kind of the king of the scene, you know.
Love him. How does a band like Incantation function? Are you guys able to finally live off your music? How does it work?
I mean, it's definitely not easy to live off music for sure. I mean, before the pandemic, we were starting to do well enough where it was getting close to being able to, you know, live off it pretty well. The pandemic came and fucked everything up. So it's been kind of a struggle since then. And it's crazy because, you know, the band's doing better and we're able to, you know, make a little more money at the shows and stuff, which is great, but the expenses have been going through the roof. So we're probably making less than we made before the pandemic because we're paying ridiculously a lot more for everything now, you know? I mean, I mean, it's the small things too that add up. It's not, I mean, of course, like, you know, what last summer's tour in the summer, yeah, last summer's like festival tour that we did, you know, our plane tickets were over double what they were, you know, before the pandemic, you know. So and then the rental was more expensive, but then you even just the food's more expensive because you have to go out to eat, you know, and especially, you know, when you're touring, you might stop at rest areas where you're paying even higher prices for stuff. So it's like it's really it's crazy, but yeah, it's super tight. I mean, I the only way that I even come close to being able to kind of live off is the fact that I've done so many albums, so I make a little bit of, you know, royalties off a bunch of albums, which helps me get by a little bit. But it's definitely been a struggle for myself, and you know, the other guys in the band, you know, all have jobs. I mean, luckily Luke has a job working with his brother, which he could leave, you know, when he wants to, stuff like that. But you know, Kyle, our drummer, he basically runs his own construction company, so he can't even tour with us anymore. That's why we have Charlie, you know, help us out on drums, which is, you know, he's a phenomenal drummer, which is really cool. And it's just cool that because Charlie's super cool, and also the fact that, you know, Kyle's understanding to be cool with having Charlie do it, which is awesome. And then you know, Chuck also, you know, he can't always tour with us. He has limited amount of time off from work because he has to work more. If he has a medical condition that he has to have the insurance for work. If he didn't have that, he might be able to get by with, you know, just doing the band, but because of the health insurance stuff and that kind of stuff, it just fucks everything up, you know. We
Yeah.
just live in a fucking retarded world where we make things like complicated as possible, you know.
Oh yeah, everybody's story. Tell me about the artwork for the new album.
Yeah, I mean, Elron Kantar did an amazing job. Basically, he just, you know, we just gave him the basic concept, which is like, you know, the whole concept of the album is basically like the a creation, kind of a creation of a new god kind of thing for that's taken pieces and parts from the old god. And the picture on the front of the cover is kind of like the what was it considered the new, it's kind of like the new god. The new god doesn't have any particular shape or form to it. It's basically just taking all the parts, bits and pieces of all the old gods and all the demons and everything, and basically it turned into this what's it, omnipresent kind of thing, where even though it got started through a certain point in time, it's always been there. It just need to be kind of activated, and it's actually a part of the time that even when it wasn't activated, now it becomes part of like the whole time, like all times. And at certain points people just didn't know what they were worshiping until now, and that basically it's like the cover has like the souls kind of passing through it to you know, be able to exist or whatever, has to kind of go through the demon kind of thing. That's where all the people are on the bottom, and then basically the souls are going through the demon, and you see the souls kind of floating off until to wherever it's going to. I don't know where it's going to. You have to ask Chuck.
Yeah. Um, So 21 years ago, you became a singer for the band. What adjustments did you have to make it work? And how long did it take you to become comfortable at that role?
Um, well, I mean, it took me approximately a year of practicing in my basement doing it. Just the first goal was to try to match the tones on the previous albums at that time with the different vocalists to see if I was even capable of doing it. Because I was never in my I never thought I'd be doing vocals. So it wasn't like I had no preparation. It was just like one day Kyle and I talked and we're just like, he just said, we have one of us both have to do vocals. It's not going to be me, Kyle said. So I was like, okay, cool. So basically I got to do it. And I didn't know if it was possible, but it took me about a year of practicing, and we were touring for the Blasphemy album at that time. And we had to have a few session guys fill in for us for the touring because I just wasn't ready for it. And then we played a couple shows in Mexico, and as like a test show, and we filmed them just to see how it, so I could kind of review it. And well, even before that, I had to learn how to do the vocals. Then I learned how to play guitar and do the vocals, because that's another thing. Is like it's not just getting the tones; it's getting the tones and being able to break the you know, like I was just focusing on riffs before. Now I got to start thinking of something else and doing the riffs at the same time. Wasn't an easy task for me to do. So that whole process took about a year. But then we, like I said, we got to the point where we went to Mexico to play some shows, and we filmed them because we wanted to hear how it sounded. And I listened back to them, and I was like, oh, it's okay. It's not bad. I mean, it wasn't as good as the former vocalist at that time, but it was definitely like it gave me, it was possible for us, for me to do it. And I liked the way it sounded because actually, to me, it sounded a lot like Max Cavalera at the time, of like the old, like the style that he had like on Morbid Visions or something like that. So I was really like, well, that's cool. I mean, and I thought maybe that was just going to be my wheel well as far as where my vocals were going to go. But just over time, I just kept working at it. But it probably took me a good, what, 5 years until I started to feel really comfortable with it. Like, well, not really comfortable. Once I started to feel like, okay, and now I'm really at the spot where, I feel good about it, I guess. I don't know what the right word is. But then it took another, like, say, 5-ish, 6 years until I really felt commanding on it, like I owned it. So the whole process took quite some time. And it's like now I'm at a point where I feel like I could accomplish the things I want to accomplish vocal wise. And I felt this way for a good amount of time, maybe 5 or 6 years, where I really felt like, okay, I really know what I want to do with the vocals, and I'm able to do it, and I'm doing it in a way that I'm not straining my voice or screwing up my voice. These things, it just took a while to do, but you know, now I feel stronger, more powerful, and just I could do it, and I can feel 100% comfortable. Like in the past, like for the first 5-10 years, I'd still listen back and be like, I really don't want to listen to myself do this. It was really terrible. Like even though people said it was good, like I'm just like I don't feel good about it. But now I feel good. Like now I listen back and I'm like, oh yeah, that's what I want to do, and it's a great feeling to be able to do that, because you want to be able to write music and do your music art or whatever you want to call it, and look back on it and be like, after it's done, and be like, yes, that came out the way I wanted it to. It wasn't me trying to attempt to do something. It was me doing what I put my mind to do. And it's nice to be at that point. I don't know why I feel better about doing vocals now than I did before, because you would think it's a young man's game to do vocals like that, but it's like almost the older that I get, the easier it is to really put in my personality into vocals and capture those tones that I want to. And I don't really know why. I think I just learned from experience how to do it and stuff.
Yeah. I'm kind of the same way. Like when I hear my interviews back, I hear myself, I just cringe.
Oh, yeah. It's a bummer because I still feel the same way about doing these these kind of podcast interview type things because every time like when I see them posted, like I don't even want to watch it. Like I'm just gonna post it up on Facebook for other people to watch, but I feel like a jerk listening to myself talk, I just can't do it. I mean, vocal wise, I feel good about myself, but just hearing myself babble, no, I'm not down.
Yeah. So next year, 35
Oh, I
years.
lost you for a second.
Oh, am I back now?
You there? I lost you.
All right. So 35
Uh-oh.
years next year. No.
I can't hear you.
Okay.
Oh, I got you now. Yeah.
Back. Okay. So 35 years next year. Are you planning any anniversary shows, anything like that?
I don't know. I don't think so. I mean, we tried doing a 30th anniversary tour. COVID hit. It screwed everything up. It's like,
Oh, let's
what,
not plan anything then.
34 years. I guess it's about 34 years we did our 30th anniversary tour. So already behind the eight ball with that. But it would be nice to do a 30th anniversary tour in the States because we did get to play some European shows. We did South America, a couple of, some shows for the 30th anniversary. But do a 35th anniversary. I it's just I don't know. I don't know if it's gonna happen because we're gonna be concentrating on this album. And by the time this album's done, we'll probably just want to go on to the next album and stuff. It's like it has to be a time when there's like enough space in between from, you know, doing stuff to do a 30th anniversary tour that makes sense because otherwise we just oversaturate ourselves if we do like a tour for the new album and then a few months later do a 30th anniversary tour. It's like, it's oversaturating the scene. Even though the 30th anniversary tour went great, the places we played it at, it just it can sometimes get a little oversaturated. So 35th, I think we're gonna probably pass, but I don't want to say anything for sure because I don't know. Who knows? You never know what's gonna happen.
Well, regardless of that, you do have a brand new tour coming up. Tell me about that.
Yeah, it's great. We're gonna be touring with our brothers in Suffocation, which anyone that knows the history knows that, us and Suffocation both came up around the same time in the same scene. Like they were Long Island, we were in New Jersey, but still like a New York area death metal kind of scene there. We played shows together back in the day or went to each other's shows and just hung out and stuff. So it's just really great to finally be able to do a US tour with them. I mean, we did was it South America, and we did Central America, Mexico with them, and we had such a good time. We had a fun time with those guys. They're really fun to tour with, and they're just totally devastatingly brutal live and stuff. And it's great. It's great fun to hang out with those guys. And it's just inspiring to play with such a fucking brutal band. It just makes you want to even be more fucking brutal when playing, after
More
you know,
hateful.
yes, even get more hate going on. And and I think too, to be fair, I mean, to be what's frank about it is that I think people want to see a tour like this happen because there's a great we had a great scene in the New Jersey, New York area back in the day. I mean, just some of the bigger ones, like Mortician, Immolation, Us, Suffocation. I mean, there's a bunch more, but just of those four. I mean, those are, obviously I'm honored to be in the category with the other three bands, but all those bands are very important in the death metal history and stuff. And I think people want to see bands like from our era play more shows together and do something that is really focused around our friendship with those guys, with all those bands, and just for any old school death metal head, I mean, to see bills like that, I think are super cool, and it's you want to do these kind of things while we still can do them, and stuff. I mean, I love any chance I get to do something with any of those, mortician, immolation, suffocation, I'm always down for it. You know, we're always trying to make it happen because it's, to me, it's something special. And I cherish those days of growing up in the scene and hanging out and playing shows with those guys. And, you know, there's something special about being able to do it like 35 years later with the same guys that you kind of hung out with and were, you know, jamming with back in the day. It's just really cool.
It is cool. And it's kind of a deja vu moment for me because back in the early 90s, you guys would be playing the Thirsty Whale a lot. Sometimes
Yes.
together, sometimes separately, but I would see all of these shows, all these bands coming through, Suffocation, Incantation, I mean, you name it.
Yes. Yeah. And it's, you know, we're all very fortunate to grow up in a special time for you know, death metal and stuff. And I think it's important to embrace that and to be proud of it. And to, you know, it's like, you know, to have to be able to do shows and really get that old, you know, early 90s vibe at the show, I think is something special, especially for, I mean, it's great for the old school people like us, but it's also great for new school people to witness how, you know, we did it back in the day, you know,
Mhm.
before there were any rules, you know, you know, before it got so popular again, like it is now, you know.
Yep. Yep. Finally, what drives you to still be here musically?
The love of fucking writing music and doing it. I mean, since I was a pretty much a child, I've been fascinated with music and interested in heavy music. So it just seemed like a you know, it's the right thing to do, you know. It's a passion for me. It's like every time I do something that's different, we'll say, than music, well, I try to do like normal people stuff or whatever, you know, it's like I'm just um not happy, you know, with it. I need to be um creative. I need to be playing. I need to be living the life the way I want to live life and not live life in a way that you're kind of try to be pushed into, forced into, or told you're supposed to. You know, it's like, uh, you know, I don't know. It sounds cheesy, but it's almost like being a rebel or something like that. You know, I want to live life on my own terms and create music that is, you know, important to myself with people that I love working with and stuff. And that's, you know, and the fact that I structured my life around being able to do it is, you know, is just the what's the right word? It's, well, basically, yeah, I structure my life around to do. It's not really a question, I guess. It's what I did.
Mhm. Thank you, John, and good luck with everything.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it. Hell yeah. Fucking metal. Take care. Hopefully we see you.